Hey everyone, welcome back. So this is the third video for today, but you guys are probably going to be seeing this on Saturday. So this one is about BitDigital. They provided their fiscal year 2022 financial results. So we're going to go over all the details that we do have for them. But as always, you guys know the drill here. This is not financial advice for entertainment only. Please do your own research. And I'm investing in finding coins and companies for full disclosure. If you enjoy this epic content, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. And let's get into what's going on here with BitDigital. So BitDigital Inc. announces fiscal year 2022 financial highlights. And here's what we got going on. We're going to go over some of the highlights here. So financial highlights for fiscal year 2022. Total revenue was $32.3 million for the fiscal year of 2022. For the year ended December 31st, we recognized revenue of $31.4 million and $0.9 million from Bitcoin mining services and Ethereum mining services, respectively. The company had cash and cash equivalents and restricted cash of approximately $34 million. And total liquidity defined as cash equivalents and restricted cash, USDC, and digital assets of approximately $62.2 million. So a pretty good chunk of change there. Net loss was still, however, $105.3 million or $1.34 per share for the 12 months period ended December. Net loss included a $15 million impairment of fixed assets charged and a $24.7 million impairment of digital assets charged as well. That's based on Bitcoin price coming down in value over the year. And that's the reason why, Bitcoin pretty much ended up the year at about 15,000 something, around 16,000 by the end of December, where it started out the year at close to 40 some, almost 50,000. So that's expected. That's expected results here. Okay, operational highlights for the fiscal year. The company earned 1,247.5 Bitcoins. They generated 294.3 Ethereum during the same time period. And proof of stake also they're getting from that. Let me see here. What else do we have here? Treasury holdings, we'll get into that in a minute. The company owned 37,676 Bitcoin miners and 730 Ethereum miners as of December 31st, with an estimated maximum total hash rate of approximately 2.6 and 0.3 terahash respectively for the Ethereum miners. And they are currently, at the end of the year, they were at 1.23 exahash as of December. I think they're up a little bit higher than that right now, but we'll take a look at it. And then as of June 30th, the company had received the entirety of its previously announced 10,000 unit miner purchase from Bitmain. The company currently has no outstanding payments obligations for miner purchases, so that's good. They do have cash that they could utilize to grow their hash rate if they wanted to. So that's good. And then during the second quarter of 2022, the company signed a new 20 megawatt hosting agreement with CoinMint LLC. All of the capacity has been delivered as of the date of this report, so that's good. And then during the third quarter of 2022, the company finalized an agreement with Block Breakers for 5 megawatts of incremental hosting capacity to power its miners. The facility is located in Canada and primarily utilizes hydroelectricity. So that's good as well. There, they sold some miners as well. They sold 1,106 micro BT Watts miner M21S and 9 micro BT Watts miner M20S and 1 InnoSilicon A10 series Ethereum miner during the fiscal year 2022. Okay, let's see if we have anything else here. I think that was it that I wanted to point out. Everything else you guys can kind of look at, but I thought those were the interesting points here. So when we look at BitDigital on this dashboard, we can see that they are currently at 1.25 exahash. So that was pretty much what they reported here, I think, at the end of the fiscal year. Let's see here, where was it? They were at 1.23, so they're up a little bit from where they started the year at. And we can see here that the BTC that they mined from basically April of last year to March of this year has spiked in October, but has come down a little bit. They do hodl a little bit here as well. Their BTC value is about approximately 11.34% of their market cap, which market cap is 163 million right now. Stock price is $1.98. The rest of the market cap is 88%, which is basically their mining portion of it. Their BTC value right now on 724 BTC is at 20 million. So it might be a little bit different from what we're seeing on the report here. BTC hodl, you can see here, has been pretty consistently growing. It did drop a little bit here in February and March, where they sold 382 in February and 91. But the prior year, it was pretty much going up, so that was actually a pretty good sign there. They did sell a little bit here and there. They were mining, but not too bad. Their BTC per exahash has been consistently one of the best in the miners here, always in at least in the top 3 or 4 miners each month. They did have a little bit of a dip here in February, but they rebounded nicely in March. March, like I said what before in previous videos, was including, I think, also their staking portion that they included as BTC equivalents in that. And that gave them a really good efficiency, higher than anybody else that we currently monitor as well. Okay, hash rate, you can see here, hash rate has been kind of all over the place here as they've been getting miners installed, taking some miners out. and they did peak at 1.37 exahash in November, came down a little bit in December, and then up a little bit through February, and then down again here in March. And then Bitcoin revenue, you can also see, has been kind of up and down all over the place. It hasn't been consistently going up or consistently going down, but it has been coming up here at least at the end of the year, the beginning of the year as well. So that's a good sign there. We'll keep an eye on that one. Monthly hash rate different BTC sold. You can see how much they sold value for. And then here we have the last 4 quarters revenue. So Q1 was about 8.5, Q2 was 6.8 million, Q3 was 9.1 million, Q4 was 7.7 million, and the current quarter that we're in right now, which is Q1 of 2023, is to be about 8.2 million. So they have come up a little bit here, but the beneficial thing is the Bitcoin price has gone up in value. That's helping up tremendously here as well, along with other miners as well. Last 4 quarters operating costs. Costs were coming down from Q1 to Q2, but we had a pretty big spike here in Q3 to 6.5 million, and Q4 went down a little bit to 6.02 million. So that was good there. Other metrics as far as cost to mine 1 BTC has been coming down, so that's a good sign there. From Q1, we were at 21,000 roughly for 1 BTC. It came down to 18.1 in Q2. Q3 went down to 15.1, and Q4 went down even further to 14, which is more in line, closer to where some of the other miners are right now. So that's good, considering that they are using also a lot of hosting providers for their mining. Okay, so that's not too bad. And then as far as Bitcoin mined quarterly, in Q1 they mined 194, Q2 was 197, Q3 was 429, and then Q4 was 426, a little bit less than Q3. But like I said, we've had the network hash rate go up in increase as well, and that's having an impact on the miners. If they're not growing their hash rate, they're seeing less and less Bitcoin each month being generated for them. Okay, debt to equity ratio also had a huge spike here in Q4. We did have it coming down here for the first 3 quarters of the year, but we had a huge spike here in Q4 to 0.116. It's still really good though. Lower is better, but I mean, they were really low here in Q3. They're still real low, and really no concern there for them on that one. Current ratio, higher is obviously better. They were pretty high here in Q3 at 19.7, so basically 19 times over they could pay off their current debt. They came down to 8.6. They're still in really good shape here. There's no concern for them on this one. So no worries on that. Total current assets has been coming down, but that's based on the Bitcoin value coming down as well, so that's not a big concern there. Total current liabilities went up a little bit here to 7.4 million in Q4. Not a big deal. They still have plenty of cash to pay it 8 times over, so not a big worry there. Okay. Let's take a look at the actual numbers that we do have for them. I'm going to try and increase this for you guys so you guys can see this. And we'll get into some of these metrics. Hopefully I don't forget to get into these, but we'll get into these in a little bit here. But here's what we have currently. So current assets. So the way I worked this out, obviously fiscal year 2022 is the numbers, and then they're going to be the same for Q4. So cash and cash equivalents went up a little bit here to 32.6 from 32.2. So that's good. They had a really good Q2 at 44, but nonetheless it went up a little bit here. Restricted cash also stayed about the same here. USDC went down to 624,000 from 9 million here. It looks like they had in Q3. That might have been moved over from the cash and cash equivalents part. They might have put that out here. Digital assets also went up a little bit here to 27.5 from 23. Income tax receivables was 736 from 86, and other current assets went down actually to 1.4. Overall, their numbers are pretty close to where they were in Q3. So 64.39. Up a little bit, just slightly from 60, well, down a little bit from 68.34 on that one. Okay, and then other things here, investment securities went down a little bit to 1.7 from 2.3. Deposits for property and equipment went down to 2.5 from 4. Property equipment went way down here from 80 million reported in Q3 down to 22.6 million. And let's see here. Other non-current assets are pretty much close to what they were. So total non-current assets was at 96 in Q3, down to 36 million in Q4. So total assets was down to 100 million from 164 million. Still not too bad. Bitcoin price came down. That's probably a large portion of that reasoning there. Current liabilities. Liabilities increased a little bit here. So accounts payable went up to 3.6 from 2.1. And that was an increase slightly from Q2 as well, but still not bad. Accused litigation settlement costs. This is a new one here that was 2.1 million that was added on there. Other payables and accrued liabilities went up a little bit here to 1.7 from 1.3. So total current liabilities right now is 7.4 from 3.46, which still isn't bad. As long as they keep this in check and in line, I have no worries about them. Okay, long-term income tax payable went up a little bit to 3.0 from 2.9. And then, so total current liabilities, non-current liabilities is 3 million, well, basically because of long-term income tax. But total liabilities is 10.4 from 6.4. Slight increase here, but not too bad, and like I said before. Okay, revenues. Revenues have been coming down here, it looks like, from Q1 where we were at 8.5, Q2 was 6.8. Q3 had a nice increase here to 9.1. They started getting miners installed at that time, but it was down to 7.7 in Q4. So a little bit of a decrease from Q3, but we should see, I think we're going to be up. Let's take a look at where we're going to be. Potentially, I think we're going to be up a little bit here on them. If we look at it, yeah, up a little bit here, possibly in this current quarter that we're in right now. Okay. And that's based on, like I said, Bitcoin price going up in value. Okay, so there's that one. Expenses, cost of revenue went down actually a little bit here in Q4 to 6 million from 6.5, so that was good there. They did, like I said, install more miners during that period of time, so it's still pretty good that they were able to keep their costs down. Depreciation was about the same as it was in Q3. General administrative went up here to 8 million from 6.2. Definitely want to keep an eye on this one. Want to keep the overhead low and lean as much as possible. So cost of revenue was 23 million, up a little bit here from Q3 from 22. Still not too bad, but like I said, definitely want to keep an eye on the general administrative expenses. Other operating expenses, let's see, a realized gain, loss, and exchange of digital assets. That went up a little bit here to 1.7 from 1 million. Impairment of digital assets actually had a positive here, looks like 1.3 million compared to a negative 2.3. So that might be good there. And then impairment of property and equipment, that was a new one there that was added in. That was 50 million here, so they took an impairment on that. And let's see here, again, from disposal of property and equipment was 162,000 from negative 162,000 from a positive 60. And let's see here, also if your other expense income net was negative, this should be 551,000 from 26,000, I believe. Yeah, 26,000. So negative on that one. Total other expenses was negative 47 million. So that's a pretty huge increase here from the 1.2 million that they had. And another operating income loss total was 63 million compared to 140, but that's based on the impairment of property equipment of 50 million. That's a big chunk of change there, right there. Okay, income tax expenses, net income before was 62.6 for the quarter, way up obviously from 14.4. A pretty big loss in the quarter, 79 cents it looks like basically. And for the year they lost $1.34 per share with a basic and diluted weight average of 78.6 million shares. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the metrics that I do have for them. Here we can see that in Q4, they mined 426 Bitcoin, which was down a little bit from Q3. The starting hash rate was about 1.3. They ended actually lower than that at 1.23 exahash. So average was about 1.29. They decreased by about 117 petahash for the quarter. And then BTC mined per average hash was 329 BTC per exahash efficiency. Still pretty good there. Cost to mine 1 Bitcoin came in at pretty high here at 54,922, and that's including everything in the kitchen sink. Cost to mine 1 BTC minus depreciation came down to 14.1 thousand. So that's good there. They've been continually going down here on that cost, so that's good. And we already covered the debt to equity ratio, current ratio, book value of equities. BVE is at 89.9. And then price to book value ratio is 1.85. Enterprise value market cap plus debt minus cash is 120 million. And a beta came in at negative 53 for it looks like million, and then revenue was 7.7. General administrative compensation was 8. So that was actually, yeah, that was pretty high. That was over their revenue. So they definitely spent more on general administrative than they have in the past. It has been coming up here. You can see it from Q1 at 49%. Q2 was 67%, 68% for Q3, and then up to 103%. But for the year, it was 71%. Still pretty high for that. So they definitely seem to get more miners installed to kind of offset that a little bit. Okay. Based on all of that, they are currently at, I'm like P of 15, but they're going to be growing. What's their growth rate potential? 2.8. So they still have a little bit of growth left in them. Love to see them get up to closer to 5 exahash potentially by the time the end of this year, but we'll see what that growth is going to be like for them. With that being said, I have them currently at a P of 15. I think that might be a little high for them. Maybe a 10 might be a little bit more in line. So that would get us to a $1.93. Currently, they're at $1.98. To have that right, $1.98 here. Why is that going? Yep, $1.98. Okay, so that's fine there. So currently, they're looking like they're pretty well valued on the P of 10 with the 50% net income. But if we're looking at 75% net income, they would be undervalued right now. And that's why I'm thinking that, they're kind of fairly valued right now as it is. But if they do end up growing, that could definitely get them up to a P of 15. The same thing could be if Bitcoin really starts going up. When Bitcoin goes up in value, it kind of lifts all boats. And usually the benefits of that are the Bitcoin miners. They end up going usually a lot better than Bitcoin is. Okay. So right around now, I think they are pretty well valued. But like I said, if they grow, they could definitely fetch a little bit more than what they are currently fetching as it is. All right. So let me know what you guys think of all this. As always, a lot of information in here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button and subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. Spreadsheets are always available to my Patreon members. Thank you to everyone there. And then I'll do the printout or the graphics for the dashboard part of it for the YouTube members as well. Those will get uploaded probably tomorrow. I'm guessing sometime it's getting pretty late. I still have one more video to do. And then we'll call it a day. Okay. So like I said, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.